Hey guys, what's going on? It's James here with Crypto Quick Start, and in this video I want to start talking about taking profits and one of the major mistakes that I made in 2017 that cost me a fortune. Okay, so we're looking at a Litecoin chart. Obviously Litecoin has been one of the better performing coins over the last couple of months. It's up about 500%, a little over 500% from its bottom. Well, I guess technically it's 400% gain. So it's up around 415%. So I took some profits on Litecoin. Okay, and I'm going to explain why, and I'm going to explain why I haven't bought them back and all that kind of stuff. So long story short, in 2017, one of the things I did, I was really bad about this, is I would often try to pick tops. So for example, I would have sold somewhere like this, and then tried to buy back on the way down. Now, normally speaking, I would, get back in fairly quickly and just kind of, make a little bit of money. But sometimes I would get brave and I would try to do what a lot of professionals do, which is write it down on the retracement. So in this case, I'm just going to draw these approximately, okay? So in this case, maybe this was 2 years ago, I'd be trying to ride this down to like the 61 level, okay, which is around $52. Well, we can see that it never got there, right, before going up even more. So in a case like this, what I would have often done is I would, start to panic, and I'd either buy back when it started to first go up, or even worse, I'd buy back when it got higher, when I just couldn't stomach it anymore. And I would tell myself, hey, it's okay, it's a stop loss. It's not really a stop loss, but that's what I would tell myself. Okay, so here's the deal with that. Oftentimes what happens is the bulls will sell their coins and they'll try to buy back on the dip because they're trying to pick the top. But then when it goes up above where they sold, they get anxious and they decide that they need to hurry up and get back in. And a lot of times when they get back in, that's about the time the market's going to correct. So it might go up a little more and then it might, completely go back down. And then it's the worst way to go about it. They would have been better just holding. Because in this case, we're just going to say that, this person had, let's just say 300 Litecoin, okay, and they sold 100 Litecoin here, let's say. Well, they sold for, let's say, $100, so they got 10 grand. Well, they buy back up here, they're going to end up paying, about $11,600 at current prices, or 11,500. It's dropped about $1 since I last looked. Okay, so now they've got the same number of coins, but they spent $1,500 extra to get them. So now if it goes down, they're in real trouble. Whereas if they just held it and it went down, at least they didn't actually lose anything. It was just unrealized gains. So how do you avoid that? Well, I'm going to give you a real life example of, how I do this now versus how I did it a few years ago. So I actually started selling Litecoin. I traded Litecoin a lot in May. I traded it, I think it was 45 round trips, meaning that, I bought and sold or sold and bought 45 times. Okay. There's more transactions than that just because a lot of times if I buy Litecoin, I'll sell it in pieces, or if I sell Litecoin, I'll buy it back in pieces. But I ended up actually taking profits, which is not a trade, okay? It's different from a trade. In a trade, you always know, I don't know why that's going to not go away, but it's bugging the shit out of me. In a trade, you always know, what your entry and your exit is. When you take profits, you have a rebuy target, but you might not have a stop loss. Okay, you're not saying, hey, I'm going to take profits at X level and then buy back at X level. Okay, you're waiting for it to pull back. So I took profits. I sold, just for easy math, we'll say that I had 300 Litecoin, and I sold say 50 Litecoin down around $92. Okay, and then I sold 25 Litecoin at $104, and I sold 25 at $108, something like that. Okay, I don't know the exact numbers I sold at without looking at my sheet, but I do know that my cost average was right around $98. So I sold a third of my Litecoin, and again, we're using 300 because it's easy math. That's not exactly how many Litecoin I have or anything. Okay, so I sold a third of my Litecoin, and I sold it for an average of $98. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, you made a mistake, James. Look at you, dummy. It's way up since then, right? $17 per coin. Think about how much more money you could have made if you would have just held. And that's totally true for right now. okay? But what happens when this thing corrects, right? If you're in the game of picking tops and picking bottoms, you're almost always going to lose. Instead, you just have to be okay taking profits along the way, and then, you know, not worrying about the tops and bottoms, because you don't know where the top is until it's too late, until it's dropping, okay? So what I did was I took profits there because those were up several 100% from where I purchased them. And if we draw a fib from down here at the 22 level to where it's topped at right now, we can see that traditionally speaking, and there's no guarantees, but traditionally speaking, markets will retrace down to the 61 fib, and a lot of times, you know, play around between the 61 and the 78 fib. So if this thing retraces from where it's at, we would be playing around way down in this area right here. Okay. Now, personally, I don't think it's going to go down right now. I'm a little bit bearish, but there's some actual setups that came in. I had a cup and handle that I published on TradingView, I don't know, a few weeks ago, that had a target of 130-ish. And David, my partner in the Crypto Edge, actually found a setup yesterday that had a target of like 144. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you something that a lot of people don't realize. Let's say that we move this up to 144, which I think is probably the high end of this rally, okay? If we look at our fibs, they didn't actually change that much. Our 61 and 78, if we move this box up to the 61 level, realistically, when this thing corrects, and all markets correct, it's not a matter of if they correct, it's just a matter of how much. But when this thing corrects, there's a good possibility, again, not guarantee, but a possibility that it's going to come down from this level up here, play around, do this kind of stuff, and eventually end up down in this area, okay? So if you look at that, $69 is the top of that range, and $48 is the bottom of that range, okay? So let's say, in my case, we said that I sold 100 Litecoin right around, and again, I'm just using hypothetical numbers here for easy math. If I sold 100 at 98, and I'm still holding 2/3 of my Litecoin. Well, what I want is I want it to go up. Now, a couple years ago, I would have been like, oh, please go down, please go down, please go down, right? No, I want it to go up. Why do I want it to go up? Because I want it to keep going, because I still have 2/3 of my coins. And when it gets up to this very top target that I'm looking at, I would go ahead and I would let go of another 100 Litecoin, another 1/3 of my position. Now, 100 of them, I won't let go of pretty much no matter what. Okay, until it's like time to completely take my ball and go home. But might sell 100 up here. So now if we do the math, right, we can say that I sold 100 at 98 and 100 at, we'll just say 144, okay, or we'll say 143. Okay, let's say I didn't quite get the top. All right, so that's an average of, and I did the math beforehand in case you're wondering, I'm not, you know, a savant here, but that's an average of $120.50 per coin, okay? So that means that my average sell price would be right around this level, right here. Okay? So let's say that for some reason there's just so much positive news in this space that the thing never retraces to 61.8. Let's say instead it only retraces to the 50. Okay? Highly unlikely in my opinion, but let's say that's what happens. Okay, fine. So it retraces, does some goofy stuff, comes down here and hits the 50, okay, and consolidates. All right, fine. Let's pull up a calculator and I will show you the beauty of taking profits. If you had just held the entire move, when it went back down, you would have, if you started with 300 and it went back down, you would have how many Litecoin? 300 Litecoin. But if you sold at 98 and you sold at 143, and we said that you got an average of $120.50, 120.50 times 200 Litecoin is 24,100. And if we say that we're going to rebuy on the 50 fib because it just didn't get where we wanted it to, that's divided by 83.51. You've got an additional 88 Litecoin that you didn't have because you took profits. Now, I know what some people are going to say. They're going to say, yeah, but James, what if it doesn't retrace? What if it just keeps going up? What if you're wrong and 144 is not the top? What if it goes way up? What if it goes to $200, James? Well, let's just move our fib. Okay. First of all, that would be a ridiculously parabolic move. But it's not impossible. You know, the halvening is coming up, so maybe it does that. I mean, that would be a 764% gain without correction. Unusual, but okay. To put that in perspective, by the way, back here, when we went up from 51 to the top at 420, it was 718%. And this was a blow off top at the end of a market cycle. Okay, so let's just say that happens again. Again, I think it's extremely unlikely. But let's do that. Let's say it goes up 718%. That would put this at right around, I can't get it exact, but right around 155.77. That would be equivalent to this move back here. Okay? Because it started up around 50 some odd dollars versus $22. But let's say that it blows past that and it goes to $200. Okay? Which would be a move of right around almost 800%. Okay. There we have it. You know, our 800% move. Where does our 50 fib fall? It falls at 111.87. 61 falls at 90 and 78 falls at 60. Now you might be saying, but yeah, see, James, if you got 120 and you bought back at 111, it's not that good. Is it? I mean, really? Is it not very good? Because I'm pretty sure it's pretty good, right? If you got $120.50 per Litecoin times 200 and you bought back at the 50 fib, which by the way would be insane to do in my opinion, because if you got a parabolic move this big, it's probably not going to just pull back to the 50. It's probably going to pull way back to the 78, maybe even down here to the 88 range. But let's just say you bought back at the 50. So you'd sell 200 and you'd have enough to get back 215. And you might be saying, well, that's not very good, 15 coins. I don't know. If Litecoin ends up being $1,000 someday, that's 15 grand, right? So, and again, realistically, if that were the case, I wouldn't be looking to buy back until it was under 90.74. So then do that math. 120.50 divided by 90.74, 32%. 32% gain, right? So times 200 coins, you get an additional 65 Litecoin, okay? And if you look at past moves, when you have these huge parabolic moves, like if we look at this one, where it spiked down in September and had a low of 33.56 and then went up, if we count that entire move from September through December and that blow off top, our 78 fib was 116. I'm sure there were a lot of people saying that we would never see Litecoin come down to those levels again, but it did, and it did very, very quickly. This was December 17th or December 12th, 2017, and if you look, it smashed through that 78 fib on January 31st, barely a month later, and it was down how much? 75.9%. 75%. So let's say that this thing goes up to 200, which again, is not what I expect to happen, and then it drops 75%. Where does that put it? $49. Interesting, huh? Let's draw our fib back on there. If we had a fib that went up to $200, where does $49 fall? Right here, right below the 78. All right, I know I'm beating a dead horse a little bit here, but I really want you to understand this concept, because I remember holding on to my Litecoin in 2017, not knowing better, and fortunately I only had 50 at the time, but it was still a lot, right? I rode 50 Litecoin down, and I ended up buying more in this area about a year ago, which was a horrible time to buy Litecoin because it just went down, down, down after that. But the thing is markets retrace. It's what they do. It's just a matter of how long it takes and when it happens. It's not a matter of if it happens. Okay. So the worst thing you could do, and you know, would be to do something where you sell a coin, you know, at some point, and then buy back higher, and it just go down, and now you've got the same number of coins, but you spent more money to get them. Okay. I know this video is long. I really wanted to do a good job of explaining this because I'm seeing people panic, okay? I'm just going to be blunt with you guys. I sold Bitcoin. I sold a third of my Bitcoin at an average cost of about $6,300, and I sold a third of my Litecoin at an average cost of $98. I'm not worried about either one, okay? First off, if I'm wrong and this thing never comes back down, which would be the first market in history to do that, so what, okay? There's other ways to make money. I still have 2/3 of my coins. I'm fine. But realistically, what's probably going to happen is we're going to see a retracement, and I'm going to get an opportunity to buy back more coins than I sold, as long as I don't lose my nerve and buy back at the top. I saw Peter Brandt yesterday on Twitter, and Peter's got, you know, he's got 30 or 40 years of trading experience. Some of his calls are pretty wrong. Some of them are, you know, spot on. And I saw him make a post yesterday saying how, you know, this is the FOMO phase of this rally, and basically what he thinks is going to happen is as soon as the bulls who sold their coins to quote unquote take profits, right? As soon as they buy back in, as soon as they capitulate and say, oh God, it's just going to keep going up and buy back in, that's when the thing's going to turn around and dump. That's, you know, how I've felt about it too. It's what I've been telling my friends who have been asking me. I got a couple family members that have been asking me, and I've been telling them, just be patient, don't chase this thing, be patient, be patient, be patient, right? Because I learned through firsthand experience that's what happens, right? I would hold my nerve, and then right about the time I said, I guess it's not going to go back down, I would buy, and then it would go down. So me personally, when it comes to, you know, Bitcoin, I'm a buyer down, you know, I'd probably start looking mid fives, but I'd really like to be a buyer in, you know, somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000. And on Litecoin, I'm probably a buyer. Anything under 70, I would probably be a buyer on Litecoin long term, you know. And what I mean by that is, you know, I think it's probably going to go down more than that, but I'm okay being underwater for a little bit because I really like the coin. Now, all that being said, please remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not even a trading advisor. I'm some guy sitting in a spare bedroom, so none of this is financial advice. You should always do your own diligence for making any type of investment, especially in something as risky as cryptocurrency. All right, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please be sure and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching it on Facebook, please give me a like and leave me a comment. That really helps with the algorithms. And also, if you're watching on YouTube and you're not a member of that Facebook group, please feel free to come hang out. It's a free group, a little over 3,500 members, and I try to do a couple of videos a week in there sharing what I've learned over the last 2 years and 5,000 or so transactions in the cryptocurrency space. All right, this is James. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.